Welcome back to a very special edition of the Mina Show featuring Lenny. This is our second Power Hour. I am really excited because it's a second Power Hour, but it's a first-time guest, somebody who I have wanted to have on the pod for a while. He is on hiatus right now from Good Morning Football, but he will be back soon. Kyle Brandt, welcome to the Mina Show.
Mina, I'm thrilled to be here. I genuinely mean that. I'm excited for this. I have to start by telling you, though, I'm going to be a disaster on this pod. This is going to be a car accident. Just wait till you see it. I'm going to be all over the map for about 50 different reasons. So everybody buckle up.
Don't you have pent-up football takes, though, from being out?
You would think. I've been out for months. I should just be itching to get on the pod. I got 4 months of takes. Have you ever heard the word, Mina, have you ever heard the word unplugged? And I don't mean like an acoustic guitar. I mean I've been unplugged. So I've plugged back in. And you told me a little kind of short version of what we'd be doing today. Yeah. So 10 minutes ago, I'm sitting down here cramming, and I listed the 32 teams, just random order and that I think that they should be in. And not only were they all over the map, but something really intriguing happened, Mina. I only have 31 teams, and I can't think of the team I'm forgetting. I've thought for 10 minutes, who am I? I got the Titans. I have the weird little ones. Who is the team? And I still don't know. So we'll find out together.
The Titans were my first guess. When you said that, I was
going to say, it's the Titans.
Is it the Titans? Is it the Jags? Okay, we'll find out. Well, fortunately, you don't have to listen because for people who didn't catch the first installment, the way it works is we're power ranking the entire NFL. Yeah. For every slot, I am going to give you 2 teams. You pick one, basically the team you perceive to be better, and choose why. And just to clarify too, this is not a record prediction. So you're not picking a team because they have an easier schedule. You don't have to look at strength of schedule. You don't have to worry. NFC South doesn't get a bump for that reason.
Yeah, sure.
We're purely picking based on just your perception of goodness.
Let's roll.
Let's do it. All right, I'm excited. And we're doing this on YouTube, so I've got my whiteboard out as well. For those who are not ever listening to this and want to watch later. Okay, so I might mix it up a little bit from the teams I did last week, but there's going to be a lot of similarities. However, it'll obviously go in different directions because of a different guest. I am, however, going to start with the same 2 teams at the top. I do not think this should be controversial. I am once again giving my guest, Kyle Brandt, the choice for the number 1 team in the NFL of the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, let's get off to a good start here. I'm going to say the Chiefs, and I really wanted to say the Niners when I was thinking about these 2 teams. I'm going to say the Chiefs. First of all, the last football game we saw, they did win, and so you don't try to go by that too much. But I had this weird dream, Mina, stick with me here. I had a draft night dream where not only did the Chiefs get the fastest player in NFL history, they took him from the Bills, and that really happened, and he's on the team now. Isn't that bizarre? Can you imagine if that actually bleeping happened? It did. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I think this is actually a quote-unquote bounce-back year for a team that just won the Super Bowl.
You have ties to the Bills.
Yeah.
Did that upset you when that happened? We're going to get to the Bills. I'm still high on them.
Mina, let me tell you something. In a few weeks, I'm going to the Bills minor league baseball team. I'm throwing out the bleeping first pitch there. Those are the ties. I'm like a guest of honor there. I'm so flattered. And I'm going to sit here and tell you teams that are better than them. I might get disinvited by the end of the pod. But yes, it shocked me. I like Big Baller Bean. He's good. I think he's a good GM. But damn, you got to trade it to the Chiefs? That really happened. And I feel like he's already going to score a 90-yard touchdown.
Okay, so the Niners remain on the board at 2.
Yeah.
Not going to do the Bills here.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I did this team last week, and they were a rapid faller last week. They still landed pretty high, but they were like the, Lamar Jackson, ironically, because it is the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know if that they're the consensus 3rd team. You can make a strong case for a bunch of teams, I think, in that kind of 3 to 6 range. Niners or Ravens? Who you got?
Niners for sure. I wish these 2 teams could play in a Super Bowl one of these years because I feel like the Ravens are like the AFC Niners, but the Chiefs always go. I have the Niners, and I feel like the Niners, this is kind of this last ride with this iteration. How many years are we going to get of this Kittle and Warner and Juszczyk and all that? I love Shanny and all that, but I'm going to go with the Niners over the Ravens. Perfect year last year for the Ravens. You don't get a lot of good years like that. It just blew up. I go Niners.
I know. They smashed the Niners at the end of the year. It's the reason why we thought they were the best team in the NFL. But I think I agree with your decision because unlike the Ravens, who did lose some players, they gained some players too. We can talk about them. The Niners really didn't lose anyone. It's largely the same team. Okay, so the Ravens are still on the board for you.
Yeah. We're 2 teams in. What are we going to do when we get to people like the Saints? What the hell am I going to say about them?
Wait till you get to like 27 and 28. That's when it starts getting like really like, ooh, you know.
All right.
Okay. I was gonna say it's not hard thus far, but I think this is a hard decision. Okay. Ravens, Lions. So I'm very chalk from the playoffs last year. Obviously, this is the championship game contenders.
All right. So I just said I like the Niners better than the Ravens. I'm going to go with the Lions here. The Lions, who were better for the Niners for most of the game. And I'll go first person. Mina, I got to work the Pro Bowl for the first time ever. There is something about the Lions crew at the Pro Bowl. They were all there. I think about like Hutchinson and Goff and everybody. They had this group that they rolled with, and I feel like they had this crazy bond and this aura about them as they walked around the other All-Stars that I was like, God, the Lions are totally different. They're kind of cocky. They got this cocksure way to the way they hang, and I feel like this is not just going to go away next year. I really like them. I'm going to go Lions.
Right now we're chalk with Ryan Clark because he also took the Lions over the Ravens. I'm going to mix up my rankings here a little bit. So the Ravens are still on the board. So they're, again, and this isn't a dramatic fall, but it's a little, they're not. Ravens fans might be a little bit upset. And I am going to bring in a team that is very young and exciting. Actually, I did this team last time. I want to hear what you say about this. I'm going Texans here.
Okay. Remember, I think it was in the 90s when the WNBA started. Everyone's talking WNBA now, but when it first started, and they came out with this ad campaign, it was "We Got Next," and it was "We Got Next,"
yes,
and it was every "We Got Next" was everywhere. The Texans have next. I look at them and I'm like, that was not a fluke. I don't think that was this 1 year thing. I don't think that was just this flash in the pan. I truly believe in them. I have them hovering around 5 or 6 overall in the 32. I like them that much. Who am I pairing them against? I'm pairing them against the Ravens.
We're still the Ravens, yeah.
Damn. You know how I just said they got next? They don't have the Ravens. I still have the Ravens above the Texans, but that's definitely a playoff game this year, right? I have Ravens above Texans.
Yeah, right. And they beat the Texans last year. I love the Texans. I did top 10 offense, defense, coach pod, and the Texans landed in all 3. D'Amico Ryans, I would run through a wall for him. I am already, I don't care if it's just 1 year. I think he's amazing. But I do feel like they have so much hype around them this season. It's a lot. A little bit.
It's a lot. Well, all these new rookie quarterbacks that are coming out this year, every time you see someone describe the expectations for them, whether it be like Drake May or Bo Nix or Caleb, whoever, then the first 3 sentences is the word CJ Stroud. They all say, if he can do anything close to what Stroud did, he's the standard after 1 year. But I don't care. It feels good to like the Texans.
It does feel good. They're so likable. They are the ultimate good vibes team.
And Mina, let's not forget, they went through 2 years of not only the worst, but the strangest vibes in the 21st century of any team ever. Those 2 years, I don't even know if they existed. Allegedly, Lovie Smith was the coach. I don't know what, but they went from the worst vibes ever to the best in the league in 10 minutes. And I think that was your boy D'Amico. It's so cool.
Well, so if the Texans are the good vibes team, the Bills are the weird vibes team. Yeah. It's been a somewhat controversial offseason in some ways. I am going to bring them in here, though, which is high, by the way, because we're at 5, and I'm going Texans versus Bills. And I'm bringing them in here because I'm still fairly high on the Bills. I think some of the departures have been overrated. I think Josh Allen's the second best quarterback in the NFL. Would you, however, take them over the Houston Texans?
I'll take the Bills over the Texans. Ooh. And I have, and listen, in my little my cheat sheet, I have Bills 5, Texans 6. They are neck and neck. And I remember the day, you saw it, when it broke that Stephon Diggs was no longer a Bill. It was jarring, but not surprising. And I actually think it will be a positive thing. Let's be honest, he was really good in the regular season, really underwhelming in the playoffs. His last moment as a Buffalo Bill was the drop of a lifetime in a playoff game. And Josh Allen spent roughly 90% of his press conferences answering weird questions about Stephon Diggs, and so did McDermott. I actually like it, and I think they're going to make this thing work.
Well, you have the Texans 6, so you kind of gave it away a little bit.
However, I told you I'd be a disaster in this pod. I blew it.
You didn't blow it. I'm gonna make a case for this other team, and then you can
All right, go.
I'm calling the Packers
Okay.
the NFC Texans.
Mm.
I think these two teams, the Packers and the Texans, are both like the ultimate, the vibes are immaculate teams of the NFL right now. Everything feels great around both these organizations. Both of these young quarterbacks were unbelievable last year. Both feel like they almost feel like they're playing with house money a little bit, but they both have good rosters, really good teams. Would you consider taking the Packers over the Texans?
It's a really compelling case you have there. And I feel like the people who won last season, it wasn't Andy Reid and Mahomes, it wasn't Stroud. Like the biggest winners in the entire NFL last year were Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst. Like they just walked around with both middle fingers up. And listen, I've slammed the Jordan Love draft pick for years. They were right. They have a guy. I think they won the whole year. I really do. In the second half, he was so good in down the stretch last year. I have the Texans above them, Mina. This is what I do. I hype the team up, and then I pull the rug out and say no. So Texans above Packers, but I like Green Bay.
Producer Charlie brings up the concern that it was only the second half of the season where Jordan Love was elite. Is that something, as I bring up the number 7 team, that is on your mind at all? Or do you look at that team and said, well, he was playing with a bunch of kids who weren't old enough to rent a car at receiver. Of course, the first half was going to be a little bit weird.
Yeah, but also like the first half wasn't good. In his first game as a starter, he destroyed their alleged arch rival in Chicago and completely outclassed everybody on the field for the Bears. So given what that guy went through for years, I'll give him a little bit of a pass on the first half. He was great.
Okay. I'm excited to see where the Bears, because I think that's a team you could rank in a bunch of different spots.
Yeah, I got some weird ones, man. I got some things in my pocket right now, like some teams that I really like and some teams I'm way out on. I can't wait to get to these.
Okay, so the Packers are still on the board.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring in another NFC team. I'm going to mix it up a little bit from what I did last time. I'm going to put the Eagles here. Disastrous end to the season, horrible playoff performance, dramatic turnover in coaching staff. However, of course, we are only a year removed from this team being in the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts playing out of his mind. This defense, this pass rush was excellent. Do you have any faith that they can return to form? Would you rank them above the Packers?
I would not rank them above the Packers. That wasn't just they started losing or they fell apart, quote unquote. That was like some sort of sickness that they had. They completely died on a vine. And in the offseason, they lost the heart of their team. They lost the best center in the league. And I watched them lose their entire soul down the stretch. There was no way they were going to win that playoff game against Tampa Bay. No way. And they were just, until I see a sign of life from them, like a pulse, that was one of the craziest meltdowns that went on for months. And I do not have the faith in them.
All right. What?
Harsh.
No, it's not. It's totally fair. And it brings me to what I think is a difficult decision for number 8.
Okay.
Eagles or Bengals? Is this too high for the Bengals?
I don't think it's too high. I always think like if I could cast just pick one player in the league to cast a protective spell around, that he can't be injured, it'd be Burrow. Just out of one. And there's a lot. It'd be Burrow. And if he's healthy, they'll be incredible. I really think he is one of the most pivotal players in the league. Not the most. I'll get to the most pivotal player in the league later. But I think the Bengals are going to be good. It was the Burrow injury year last year. We've had him before. We'll have him again, unfortunately. But I like the Bengals a lot.
So over the Eagles.
Yeah, that's a positive Bengals, but it's also like it's a very anti-Philadelphia. That was so bad. I can't stress it enough. Wasn't that weird?
It was weird. We were talking about it NFL Live the other day, and they were asking us about, Vic Fangio, new scheme, whatever, optimize. And I was like, okay, but can they tackle? Because they literally just stopped tackling in the second half of last season. It was really strange.
What was it? They lost to the Cardinals, right? Like in really bad fashion. Like, and I like those scrappy Cardinals. We'll get to them, but like, come on, you're supposed to go to the Super Bowl. You're Philly.
Kyle, they got carved up by my boy Drew Lock in primetime.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, we're at number 9. The Eagles are still on the board. I'm gonna bring in the Cowboys here. So we got the Eagles head to head. We had this last time as well. Cowboys, similarly to the Bills, very good football team, but very bad vibes off season. I would argue worse vibes than the Bills.
Yeah.
Still a good team though. Still good defense. They get Trevon Diggs back. Mike Zimmer is now defensive coordinator. Does that do anything for you?
No. I go through these production meetings, you do them before shows or whatever. And the producers will never let me say I don't care for the Cowboys questions, but I always want to just say I don't care. And it's really harsh, but I don't care. It's my question every single year is give me one reason why this Cowboys team is different from any other Cowboys team. They're fast, they're flashy, they're good, they'll win 11 games or something like that, and then they'll just lose. It's just Groundhog team. I don't have the time or the energy to spend it on. I just don't. Is this team different, Mina, than any Cowboys team?
They're worse than last year's, arguably.
There you go.
I think you could. Defense getting Diggs back helps, and they actually have some linebackers. Well, you can't answer. I don't care. You have to pick between Dallas and Philadelphia.
Crap. All right.
This is tough.
I was harsh on Philly too. I'll go since I can't answer. I don't care. I'm never allowed. I'll actually go Dallas over Philly just because. Again, Philly's so bad second half. I'll go Dallas.
We are rounding out the top 10.
All right.
The Eagles are still available to you.
Okay.
Here, I will present to you with the Miami Dolphins, who had what appeared to be a historically good offense last year that collapsed down the stretch. A defense that was extremely injured at the end of last season. Brought in some veterans. They lost Christian Wilkins. A lot of change on that side of the ball. Do you like the Dolphins? Do you like them better than the Eagles?
I like the Dolphins fine. I think they're one of my favorite species of team, which is if you don't win a playoff game this year, you just wasted all of our time. Like you have to. I would look at Pittsburgh this year, who hasn't done it in a while. Miami has to win a playoff game, and it's got this weird thing where if they don't get it at home, they're not going to win. So it's like I'm going to watch them in December and see if they have enough to get a home playoff game. Otherwise, it's just going to be a lot of cool highlights and fun plays and McDaniel sound bites. I would say I'm not going to go Miami here. I'm going to go – who am I taking? The Eagles?
The Eagles?
I'm going to go the Eagles over Miami.
So let me recap the top 10
Let's do
for
it.
everyone. We got Chiefs, Niners, Lions, Ravens, Bills, Texans, Packers, Bengals, Cowboys, Eagles. Kyle, before I give you a choice to go up against the Dolphins, do you look at that list and think there's any glaring team that's missing where you were like, this is obviously a top 10 team?
I have a team, that I think is without a doubt going to be top 10 and maybe top 5 next year that is going to come from way in the back of the pack. It's like it's probably my favorite team this year. But I look at the list, Mina, and I remember you earlier, you were like, oh, Ravens fans are going to be so mad. Never mind Ravens fans. We got some other teams that are going to be way in the back of the pack that may not expect it to be. Wait till we get to the New York Giants, folks. That ain't going to be pretty. But yeah, I got a team that's missing.
Now I'm wondering what your good vibes, good team is. We might get to them soon. I don't think it's going to be the team that I'm bringing in to go head-to-head with the Dolphins. That's the New York Jets. Mm-hmm. Kyle, before we get into the Jets of it all, I still believe this is one of the 3 best defenses in football, and that is largely why I am putting them here at 11, or giving you the option.
Okay. We all agree. Great defense. There's just so much mystery and this massive dollop of what the hell is this on the other side. I don't know if you have these. I'm sure you do. I got like 3 or 4 players in the league who I just can't quit. No matter what, I will follow them into fire against good judgment. I will say stupid things on TV just supporting them. Like Baker Mayfield, I can't quit. I can't quit Rodgers. I just can't. I've said for years he's the best quarterback I've ever seen, like the best. And even last year with everything goes on and all of his like ridiculousness off the field, like I can't quit Rodgers. And I picked him to be the MVP last year. I thought he was going to go to New York and win another MVP. I'm not going to do that this year, but I think he's going to be great. I have the Jets in this match. I think they're going to matter.
Ooh.
I do.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally everybody just if the Jets are healthy, da-da-da. But I do think it's worth, rather than just doing the blanket caveat, if they're healthy, they'll be good, worth discussing how good they'll be if they're healthy. Mm-hmm. When Mike Williams was on the field at the same time as Keenan Allen, it was amazing. Yeah. Him and Garrett Wilson, dude, like
I know.
that has the potential to be very good. Obviously, though, much hinges on Rodgers. So the Dolphins fall. The Jets were not your team that you were.
Nope, okay. Not at all. Right. They're coming.
Maybe this might be them.
What do you got?
Going Rams here.
Okay. The Rams are not the team, but what's the matchup? Is it Rams-Dolphins?
Rams-Dolphins. We're still going Dolphins, yeah.
Okay, this is a resounding Rams for me, and that is not anti-Dolphins. I think McVay's the best coach in the league. I think if you ranked him, I think he is number 1. I think last year was his masterpiece. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant start to finish campaign. Do you remember last year at the beginning of the Rams season, it was the whole Kelly Stafford podcast going and saying that the players don't want to be there and they're checking out, and like no one predicted the Rams to go to the playoffs. No one took any of their players, and they were awesome. I think McVay's the best coach. I'm going to go with the Rams. I have them way up there.
Well, Kelly Stafford podcasting again in the news again this week.
Can you imagine that backup quarterback? My God. Imagine that podcast. If my wife told me that, what? Oh my God.
She continues to make news.
You know what? It worked. Look at it. They won a Super Bowl together. It worked.
You know, whatever, motivation comes in many forms. The Dolphins have been falling. The good news for you is Dolphins fans are never get angry about anything, so you certainly will receive no backlash for your choices. Okay, so things are getting interesting here. I'm gonna throw up the Bears here. So this next range I have of like, I really started with the Rams through like 12 to 16. I got a few teams. You could put them in any order. It depends how they're flawed but interesting. Mm-hmm. So, I view the Bears in this category. You're a Bears fan. Yeah. Would you put the Bears over the Dolphins?
No, I'm going to go with Dolphins. And I'm going to look at what's going on with Tua right now through the lens of his family. I have another first-person story. I mean, you got to hear this. I didn't work. I went to with my wife and kids to the Black Friday game, Jets-Dolphins in MetLife last Friday. I was there, okay? I'm with my wife, kids, and right behind us, the row behind us, is the entire Tagovailoa family. It's his father and it's his sisters, and they have the Dolphins on, and they're just there sitting watching. I think it's a really fascinating vision into his psyche and his personality, and especially with what he's got going on now contract-wise. This family did not move a muscle for the entire game. They didn't clap, they didn't stand up, they didn't cheer, they didn't blink. I watched Tua throw a corner fade to Tyreek, a perfect pass in the back of the end zone. Tyreek dropped it. I looked at the Tagovailoa family, did not move. Later in the game, probably the most exciting play in any game all year, a pick six on a Hail Mary for their son's team.
Yeah.
They just sat there not moving. I'm telling you, full silence. And I was like, these people are locked in. That must be what their son is like. I've never seen anything like it. If my kid hits a dribbler to the pitcher in Little League, I'm throwing up in the stands and doing backflips. They didn't even blink. It was insane. So if Tua's got some of that, he'll get through this.
I have heard stories about his sports dad, the pressure.
Yeah.
That is not how I will be. Can we do a separate pod where you teach me how to be a sports dad? Because I cannot wait.
We have a travel baseball game tonight, and I am already having dry heaves in the garage.
My kid he learned how to throw a ball about a week ago. He's 9 months, and I have taken probably 45 cinematic iPhone videos of him throwing the ball like 1 foot.
I know. And you'll just watch them over and over, right? And you put them in slow motion. And they're I'm so happy for you. The best is yet to come.
Okay, well, the Dolphins finally are in their spot with a complimentary story about Tua, Dolphins fans. Yeah. We are at 14.
And by the way, Mina, I got a shout out to Tua. He's getting memed like crazy this week, having nothing to do with him, having to do with a young lady street side to giving an interview and like utter the phrase of the century on Twitter. So I feel terrible for Tua that he's getting pulled into that mess too.
I think it's the one time he's been pulled into a mess, though, where it actually doesn't, like, he's fine.
I bet his dad blinks at that. Wow. That's crazy. I'm sorry, Tua.
I should have set up the Seahawks-Dolphins head-to-head just so you could make that joke off of it. But the Bears are still here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring in a team that I think has one of the best rosters in football.
Okay.
With a giant glaring question. Can you guess who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think you're talking about the Browns.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Browns Bears.
I'm going Bears. I'm going Bears. And I'll tell you why. The first snap that Caleb Williams takes as a Bear, let's say it's 1st and 10 from the 25, week 1. He's going to come into a huddle. He's going to look around. He's going to see DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett, and DeAndre Swift. In fact, he's not going to see them because that's 6 people and there's too many people in the huddle. They have too many weapons. The Bears need 2 Ubers for their offense. They can't even fit into one. There's so many weapons around them, and I have to praise them. Mina, you're just talking about your baby son. You know what the Bears were doing when they knew Caleb was coming? They were that verb that my wife used to use. They were nesting. They were getting the nursery ready with the white noise machine and the perfect Pantone color and the mobile. And they were nesting for their little Caleb baby, and they're ready for him. I go with the Bears here.
So as a Washington Huskies fan, I want this moment for people listening to this to visualize it. Rome Odunze is the bride I'm the father of the bride. Kyle is the groom, wiping a slow tear as I hand off my precious baby to you because he is amazing. You are going to love him so much. He catches everything. He is, I think, a better route runner than he's given credit for. He's an incredible person. I'm sure everything you've read about him, you've heard. Like, he's an amazing human being. I'm just sad to give my baby away. That's all.
All right, let me ask you this though: do you feel a little nervous about the marriage? Like, are you sure that this is a good match for him?
Yeah, no, I think it'll be great. Caleb was my number one all the way, and I love the fit of these receivers together. It's going to be sick. A little bit more dubious about Waldron though, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, that's the thing.
A whole other thing. Okay, so the Browns are still on the board. Let's do we still haven't gotten to your mystery team, I believe.
Nope, I've not gotten to him. You know what? You got me nervous now about Waldron. I feel like he's like the father-in-law that you're marrying into. You're like a great kid and everything. I don't know about dinner with that guy though. You're kind of marrying the family, you know. I mean, like it's not just the bride and groom. I'm a little worried about that.
Everybody's
but
like, don't let him give a speech. Okay.
Shepherd's hook.
Falcons. Right. Falcons. I'm doing the Falcons here. A little bit of a curveball. Falcons.
Okay, so we haven't gotten to the team I love, and
I think I know who it is. I'm guessing. I have a guess.
Do you want to guess? Or do you want to guess?
They're coming up soon.
Okay.
The team that I think it is. Okay, so we're Browns v Falcons here at 15.
Oh, I got Browns. I mentioned before the most pivotal player in the NFL, and I think it's Deshaun Watson. Pivotal, just being like he determines so much. If he's great, they could win the Super Bowl. If he's average, they could go 6-11. I think he just means that much. And there's just, for a guy that we've seen play so much football, it's just such an enigma. I have no idea if he's even good on the Browns. I don't know what he brings to the table. And it's like, there were conversations at the end of last year about, should they just go with Flacco next year? Like, come on, it's so strange, but I think he means so much. The roster's there. The coach is amazing. I don't know what the quarterback is.
That's literally why they didn't bring Flacco back, because he was
too good. Because he's better.
That's crazy. I mean,
that's not good.
Okay. Falcons are still on the board. Okay. I'm going to bring in the team that I think I just want to guess. Maybe it's your team. Maybe I'm wrong.
Go on.
Colts?
It is not the Colts, Mina.
Oh, man.
We're getting warmer. We're getting really warmer. Okay. I'll tell you I'm not going to give it away. I don't have the Colts. So I have Falcons, Colts.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Falcons. Listen, the Anthony Richardson thing was really fun for like 12 seconds last year. And now they have a whole offseason of like, how do you tell him not to Hulk out when the reason he was put on this planet is to Hulk out and the reason you drafted him? So it's almost this like exaggerated version of the Josh Allen calm down thing. I'm not ready to fall in love with the Colts yet. I have the Falcons, and I think Kirk Cousins is really good.
We're halfway through the NFL.
Let's go.
And I think, again, there might be teams you feel belong in the top half, but I think like I said, 13 through 19, you could, it just really comes down to preference. I'm going Colts versus Seahawks here. Bringing in my team, the Seattle Seahawks. New coach, Mike McDonald, Geno.
I have Seahawks. I have Seahawks, and I hate to put the Colts down so much. I like what they have going on. I like the way they run the ball. Strangely enough, my favorite player on the Seahawks is Zach Charbonnet. That running back from UCLA. I love that guy. Love him.
Player.
Right? Really good. And I think Mike McDonald, listen, I think if you power ranked all 32 head coaches by just who was the most recognizable on the street, I think Andy Reid would be 1, and Mike McDonald might be 32. Like I don't think people know what he looks like if he just walks down like Times Square. But we'll find out. He's got a great resume. I have Seattle here.
I want to get your team. I can't believe I haven't guessed them. Is it there's no way it's this team, but I'm going to bring in this team.
I hope it is now. I hope it is.
There's no way it's this team, but I'm going to bring in the Jags here for a Jags-Colts divisional head-to-head, but it's not the Jags.
It's not the Jags, but the plot is thickening. It's so interesting that you're not bringing them up because maybe you're anti.
Oh, it is. You gave it away earlier. Nah, you had a hint.
I did?
Well, Colts, Jags.
Okay. I go Jags. These teams are tough. It's very close. The Jaguars, I just feel like just fell apart in the second half, and I don't expect that from that coach. Like, that's one of my favorite coaches. I love Doug Peterson. They got another wide receiver. It's Lawrence, I guess, will put up numbers. I don't know. I don't feel like the mojo was there, and I don't like teams that collapse down the stretch.
Okay. I think you gave this away when you talked about a player you can't quit. Bucks?
It's not the Buccaneers.
Who is this team. I do think the Bucks though are a decent choice here for so it's Colts versus Bucks for number 19. I think this is an appropriate place, Steph. The NFC South Division winner.
Yes, and a playoff game winner, and gave it a really good shot in the divisional round. I'm going to go with the Bucks. You know, Baker Mayfield, I can't quit. I do genuinely really like everything that he stands for, and yet since I know the pattern so well, like you know it, like it's up and down. That's just what he is. You don't see like, oh man, Baker just ripped off like 3 good seasons in a row. It's usually a lot of up and down. And so does that mean this is the down year? I hope not. I'm going to go Tampa over Indianapolis. Indianapolis is getting beat up here.
Yeah, but it's I think it's fair.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't win the Super Bowl last year. What are we talking about? The 2024 Colts or some juggernaut? No, I don't apologize.
I love the Colts coach. That's part of the reason why I'm
Steichen. Why?
Yeah, I think he is so good. What he did last year with Gardner Minshew really impressed me. And we certainly saw in Philadelphia his absence. My God.
Yeah, that's true. All right. That's a good combination.
He's a good coach. All right. Colts are still on the board. I don't think this is your team either for a litany of reasons, but I am going to bring in the Pittsburgh Steelers here, who, despite the question mark at quarterback, still have a very, very good defense.
I have the Steelers over them. When it comes time in September, I know you do this when it's like division winner picking time and you have to put the graphics on TV and say who's going to make the playoffs. I pick the Steelers every single year. They're my Carnegie, my Sears Roebuck, my old like blue chip stock that I always go with. I did it last year. A lot of people didn't. I think the Steelers will be better. I don't know who the hell is going to start at quarterback, and I know it's fun to say that, oh, Justin Fields is going to win the job before Russ in training camp. I don't think so. But I know that the disastrous scenario for this season for the Steelers would be if they go with Russ, because it's fine, he wins it, or he just has the momentum, and then they go 1-3, and then they start Fields, and then it's just lost. So it's a fascinating Steelers season. I think one of the most important ones they've had in years. I'm going to go with them for the ranking.
Let me use this moment to take a pause and ask you, as somebody who has watched a lot of Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Any chance they can get something different out of him from what we saw in Chicago? Like, do you still have like a few shares of Justin Fields stock?
I got a few. Yeah, I mean it's cheap. I mean it's really cheap.
Very cheap.
And listen, like he's a burst player. He'll give you an amazing quarter or like a great half, but usually it ends up losing for the Bears, and it's a lot of time his fault. There was this amazing civil war between the Fields apologists and the teams that were saying the people are saying it's actually his fault. And the answer was both. The Bears didn't support him, and he did make a lot of poor plays in big moments. Like you'll get something, but I don't think he'll get it consistently.
That is the incredibly fair appraisal of Justin Fields, and yeah, one that was the right answer all along, but not a popular one in Chicago at times. Okay.
No.
So you took the Steelers, which means the Colts have been dropping. I think I introduced them a few weeks ago. I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball here.
Good.
I have no freaking clue who your team is, so I've given up on trying to guess. I'm going to throw in the Vikings here.
I can't believe we haven't gotten to my team yet. You must feel so different about this team. This is going to be great. The Vikings versus the Colts.
Yeah. So
this is really close. I'm going to go Colts, actually. I know this is not fun to talk about. I'm not a huge J.J. McCarthy guy. I'm just not. And I don't like that the first thing everybody says coming out of college when they talk about him is that he won a lot of games and he's a winner. And that's wonderful, but it's just not my thing. I think they're going to miss Kirk Cousins. I think Cousins was really good for them, and I have the Colts over the Vikings.
Now I think this might be your team. I don't know. Let's go Chargers here. It's a little early for the Chargers. Yes!
That's my team. Mina, it's not early. We're 15 minutes late on the Chargers. I'm gonna come right out of the gate.
Where'd you have them?
I have them way up. I think the Chargers are gonna win 11 games this year. Like I am completely in. Just follow the pattern. Follow the pattern. I know. You're right. The defense, the wide receivers, you're right. That psychopath they have a head coach is going to do whatever he needs to do. Okay. It's a pattern's gone on 15 years. Goes to Stanford. They're terrible. The second he gets there, Toby Gerhardt is getting a Heisman finalist and he's destroying a Pete Carroll USC team. Niners, very average team. They're going to the title game in his first year. Michigan, Brady Hoke, terrible. Immediately. There's no warm-up year. There's never like, oh, Harbaugh's first year, he won 8 games. Oh, that's great. Next year, it's immediate. I think they're going to win 11 games this year. I have them in the playoffs. I have them fighting for everything. I love the Chargers this year.
11 games. So that
11 games.
Put them in the 8 to 13 range. I would.
Yeah,
I would
and
give
it
you
might be low. I can't see any scenario where the Chargers went 6-11 and Harbaugh just didn't have. He always has it. I think him and McVay are the best coaches alive. Like I believe that much in Jim Harbaugh.
I will say, I think
Yeah.
that the offense will be good despite the lack of receivers. I like the way they're building it. And I thought when they picked Lad McConkey, I was like, perfect.
Here we go.
Perfect for Justin Herbert. But dude, that defense has some holes.
You didn't like Mac last year? You liked him fine.
Yeah. No, he's good, but behind them, there's just nothing. I mean, there's not nothing, but there's just some real problems.
They might win 38-31, but they'll get the wins. He's the best.
I mean, I'm a Justin Herbert apologist, so I would love that. Okay, so the Vikings were the team you picked them over. The Vikings are still on the board. Let's throw in the saucy Arizona Cardinals. They're saucy, right? They're saucy.
Absolutely saucy. They are my favorite 4-win team of all time, the 2023 Cardinals. May they go down in history. They beat up the Cowboys. They beat up the Steelers. They beat up the Eagles. They did it with this weird new head coach. Josh Dobbs was on the team. Like it was a crazy season where they didn't win a lot, but I loved how hard they played. Like James Conner was running over everybody.
So good.
I think the Cardinals are going to do something this year. Yeah. I'm not going to take them. What was it? Cardinals, Vikings?
Vikings.
Damn.
It's tricky.
I'd love to sit here and say, yes, Cardinals over Vikings. I can't do it, though. I got the Vikings close. I really like Arizona this year.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Damn. You know what? Mina, erase. I'm going Cardinals over Vikings. I'm going Cardinals. You know what? What am I doing here? Just go with my gut. Never mind. Cardinals over Vikings. That's what I want. Gannon, Murray. I feel like the making fun of Kyler Murray phase is over. Like we all did it for years, and now it's like he's still there. They're sticking with him. He's really talented. Let's get behind Kyler now.
Okay, so I am so glad I didn't make fun of Jonathan Gann. Or it's not that I didn't make fun of him. I did make fun of him because let's be real, the get off the bus thing was funny. But
hilarious.
But I did not plant a flag and say he's going to suck because I'm done doing that with coaching hires, Kyle. Like we have no idea. Right? Like
what was your worst miss, Mina? What was the one you're like, oh, this is gonna be terrible, and then he was like a genius? Who was it?
Ooh, coaches. I didn't think Dan Campbell was gonna be terrible, and I never went on the record saying so, and because I had already learned this lesson, but I was very skeptical of that hire. I did not publicly crap on it. And he has exceeded all of my wildest dreams.
Damn right. Beautiful.
But when they made it, I was like, what?
Yeah, I mean we all were.
Yeah, right.
And the kneecaps and all that. I mean, it was a lot.
The only one that I felt really good about on was Urban Meyer, which of course was.
Oh, awesome. Hell yeah. That was the worst coaching season of all time.
Okay, Vikings are still on the board. We are at 24. We are in the final 8. This is going to get real ugly.
Here we go, baby. Come on.
Vikings, let's throw in the Titans here, who are a weird team. They're weird.
Okay.
They added good players.
I still think it's a little weird that they fired Mike Vrabel. Like, that's a pretty good coach. He's done some great things there, and you're the Titans. So, to your point, they are weird. And now we're past the fact that, like, wow, Will Levis puts mayonnaise in his coffee and eats bananas with a peel. Now he's like the franchise quarterback. That's weird.
They seem to believe in him, too, based on everything they've done.
They seem to believe in him. They seem to like him. We can keep going. It's weird that Derrick Henry isn't on the team anymore. Like, that's all we've known for years. So there's a lot of weird. Do I pick them over like KOC and JJ in Minnesota? I don't think so. I know O'Connell's a really good coach, and I'll take him over Brian Callahan right now in the Titans. Give me the Vikings.
Okay, I think this is a tough one then. Titans-Raiders head-to-head.
Oh, man. You know what? Remember I said I had 31 teams? I forgot the Raiders. They're the team. I'm sorry, you guys. I rented my teams. I didn't have the Raiders.
It's because of the quarterback issue. Because when you think about teams, you think they're quarterbacks, and when you get to the Raiders, nothing comes to mind.
All right, so just can we confirm? Because their quarterbacks are Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. They're going to battle with those guys?
They are rolling in with those two. Good defense, though.
Good defense, like cool coach. We all like Antonio Pierce. They destroyed the Chiefs at the end of last year. They scored like 300 points on the Chargers. They got their coach fired. It was a lot to like, but like we're in the AFC West here. Like we're doing Herbert and we're doing Mahomes, and no, I don't have the Raiders here. I can't. Not yet.
Titans. Fair
Screw
enough.
it. The weird Titans. Yes, I'm doing it.
Got L'Jarius Sneed now. You got Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, it's an interesting team. Okay. Raiders are still on the board for 26. I am putting them up against the Saints.
Okay, Raiders. Saints. I mean, like Dennis Allen and Derek Carr, like perfect for each other. Seem like really nice guys who have a history with the Raiders and have worked really hard. But then you're like, I'll put it this way. There's a guy I know very well who I won't say his name. He was a defensive player in the league for a long time. And he was asked about Derek Carr, and he's like, that's just not a guy you worry about during game week. Like, it's just when you see the Raiders are on the schedule, he's a nice guy, he's a good player, but like, you're not like, oh, like, we got Derek Carr this week, we got to get extra film in. It's just not that guy, and I don't think Dennis Allen is either. Sorry, Saints fans, yeah, but I'm gonna not go Saints here.
Yeah, the Saints. Ugh. They were in contention for the NFC South. I mean, every NFC South team was except for the Panthers. But I'm going Saints versus Patriots. I want to hear what you have to say here. I think I'm a little higher on the Patriots than the world.
Okay, I'm not. I'm with them.
You're with the world.
The crowd. They're 4-13. They got shut out twice last year. I know Belichick gone, not from the headlines, of course, but Jesus, from the sidelines. I mean, that's crazy.
Younger than Mac Jones. Keep going.
Is that
I just
true?
looked that up because I wanted a point of reference.
I'm so glad you said that. So is this alleged friend younger than Mac Jones?
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know why I said alleged. This picture is like it's a thing. I'm just being generous with my allegations. Wow. Younger than Mac Jones is still like a schoolboy.
I don't know if that reflects worse on Mac Jones or her.
All right. Okay. Let's opine here. Who's having a longer week? Okay. The Belichick girlfriend's dad or the viral video girl dad on the street giving the interview dad. I mean, that's a rough week for either of those gentlemen. Now,
as the mother of a son, I don't know how you approach that as a parent. That's another podcast we'll have to do.
I mean, is the Belichick's girlfriend's father a Patriots fan? Because that's so much more complicated.
Well, I hope he's not a Jets fan, dude.
Also, it's just Father's Day like 2 weeks ago. That's how she. Never mind. What teams are we on? Patriots? No, I have them. I still think they're by far the least talented team in the division. I do. I still think. I think Matthew Judon is the best player in their team. He's a defensive end. If they hit gold with May, sure, of course they could launch. But I don't know. I didn't love them coming out. At the Patriots, I'm not choosing them here.
Okay, so we have 5 teams left. Just to remind people, those are the Saints, Giants, Commanders, Broncos, Panthers, or pardon me, the Patriots. You chose the Saints. So we're gonna go head to head then. Patriots. Let's do the Broncos here.
Patriots.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Denver this is the mess you made. Like you guys did this. Your $53 million of your cap this year is going to a player on the Steelers. Like their roster was already thin because of the picks they traded to get Peyton and Russ. They made a complete mess, and now they just have to sit in it. And if Nick's is incredible and Peyton's Peyton, sure, we could have something special. But no, I can't. I don't feel bad disparaging the Broncos too because they made the mess themselves. Like this is just a complete mismanagement.
Patriots beat Broncos. Broncos versus Commanders. Let's do the Commanders.
Okay,
here.
Broncos, Commanders. This is a good one. I have the Commanders. I actually have the Commanders ahead of like a handful of teams that we just named.
Interesting, really.
Love DQ.
Okay.
And also, I'm openly kind of rooting for it. I think it would be cool if the Washington Commanders were a good team. They haven't had an 11-win season in 32 years. I saw that from Frank Schwab. Like, how's that even possible? They had the most roster turnover in the entire league out of 32 teams. That's a good thing. I like the Kingsbury thing. I don't like him as a head coach. I like him as a coordinator. And if Jaden is a shell of what he looks like as an athlete, yeah, I think they can win some games. I like Washington.
You said Broncos Commanders. This is a good one. Sentence that has never been uttered. I appreciate the enthusiasm with which you brought to this 29.
This is a good one. Here we go. Panthers Giants. This is a good one. This is why they lift all them weights.
I am easing you back into the NFL offseason talk because when you're talking Broncos Commanders, you're talking Patriots v Saints, you're talking Titans versus Raiders. That's when you know football is back. It's not. not about those conversations at the top. Okay. You took the Commanders over the Giants, was it? No, Broncos. Broncos are still on the board. Yeah. So let's do the Giants here. Broncos versus the Fighting Daniel Joneses. Who you got?
I got the Fighting Daniel Joneses. I just said what I said about the Broncos. I'm trying to figure out what the big difference is with the Giants between this team and last year's team. I guess Jones is healthy. They don't have their best offensive player, and they have to play him twice. Now he's on the Eagles. Like, listen, it's to your point. Like, I have them down at like 29, so I do have them over the Broncos, but like, I don't have a sunny outlook for the Giants, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I do like the Giants' defensive line, but that's what I like.
Do you have like a towel you throw from the corner, Mina, when you need to like intervene and get in my way? Like when the Colts fell like 20 spots, can you jump in and be like, no, we're picking the Colts? Because you have license. Please do.
No, I don't think you've done anything. Well, we can look at it at the end. We're almost at the end. I'm looking at this right now, and I don't see anything. I asked Ryan, and I'm going to ask you who's going to be the maddest, which is kind of the lens at which you can look through. Sure. Did I do anything dramatic? I don't see anything here.
The Raiders are pretty low. But like the quarterback situation is
quarterback.
Weird.
Yeah,
it's very weird.
On. Okay, well, Broncos versus Panthers for the penultimate spot.
My power rankings in full will have Denver 31, Panthers 32. I'd love to be like, you know what? Screw it, man. I have the Panthers up a few slots, and if they would have given us just a little hope at the end of last year, then sure, they were shut out in the final 2 games. It was the opposite of hope. No team has been shut out 2 times in a row since the Browns like 15 years ago. It was rough. I like Canales. I saw him. He was on with Schrager this week on his podcast, and he's like, we just need to fix the football, man. Fix the football. And I'm like, that sounds great, coach. Go ahead and fix that football. I hope you do, but that's his soundbite.
Fix the football. Yeah. I like that hire too. But it's the roster is really, really lacking. It goes beyond Bryce, the defense, all of that. I'm going to read you the whole list and tell me which fan base you think is going to be the maddest.
All right, go ahead.
Chiefs, Niners, Lions, Ravens, Bills, Texans, Packers, Bengals. It's definitely Dolphins. Cowboys, Eagles, Jets, Rams, Dolphins, Bears, Browns, Falcons, Seahawks, Jaguars, Bucks, Steelers, Colts, Chargers, Cardinals, Vikings, Titans, Raiders, Saints, Patriots, Commanders, Giants, Broncos, Panthers.
Okay. So you gotta bake in, I'm sure you have this, you gotta bake in your existing relationships with these fan bases. So I already know what they're going with. The Eagles will actually be mad at me that I rank them too high because they're so self-deprecating and so mad at the team from last year. But the team is going to be the Chiefs. I have them number 1, but see, Mina, I hesitated in naming them number 1, and I didn't say it immediately, and they'll jump on that.
Respect.
Yeah, I said I considered the Niners for a quarter of a second, so I completely dissed the Chiefs fans. It'll be them, Dolphins, Eagles, and maybe the Raiders will find a way to do it.
The Raiders, 26. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, but I gave you these choices, so it's not like you didn't have the opportunity to take some of them higher.
Yeah, like I would have put the Chargers like in the top 7 teams, but that's just where they came up. Like,
love it.
We have to repod like 9 months from now or something, and like when the Chargers are 2-10 and Harbaugh is going to be 1 and done and go back to college, and we can just talk about all this. Have the clip ready.
You've been in this business with me. Nobody comes back and gets mad at you for being optimistic. It's only when you're critical, and then someone has one good game and then you become aggregated. Kyle Brandt, this was really fun. I think your list is great. I am a huge fan of it. You guys can watch this episode on YouTube, but also it's available, of course, if you're listening to it on the audio format. Thank you so much, man. This was really fun.
This was awesome. I feel like I'm kind of back. I just got to work out. I wish we had 64 teams. I would do it again. Mina, genuinely, thank you for the invite. I'm thrilled to do it. Big fan of yours, and thank you so much.